All right, friends, we are going to wrap up our week here with comparing fractions again, but this time we're going to take a look at it in recipes. And I think that you guys are really going to like this lesson because it's a little bit fun and it's a little bit more real life. Because I'm sure during this whole quarantine thing that you guys have been doing, I'm sure you've been doing some cooking, or at least I hope you have, because I totally have been. Today is our final day of the e-learning week. Today is Thursday, April the 23rd. And when we are finished with today's video lesson, I'm going to have you guys head over to IXL to lesson P19. Remember the biggest lesson of the week. You cannot truly compare a fraction without having an equal denominator. Okay, you have to have equal sized pieces in order to be able to make a true comparison. Before I dive into these recipes here today, I think it's very important that you understand that they are not real. Do not make these recipes. Please do not get me in trouble. Do not get yourself in trouble. Don't make these recipes, okay? Loud and clear, they are not real things. That being said, let's take a look at my first recipe. Ava's Goop Cookies. Ava, let's follow your recipe. In order to make Ava's Goop Cookies, you need the following materials. You need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3 cups of milks, 2 cups of flour. Oh, I spelled flour wrong. That's embarrassing. F-L-O-U-R. I'm getting too excited for springtime. 2/5 of a teaspoon of sugar, 1 pound of tree bark, and 2 ounces of slime from a frog. Okay, so super simple stuff. And if you cannot get these yourself, store-bought is fine. So here's what the question's asking me to do. Is there more salt or sugar in this recipe? So the first thing that I have to do is figure out, well, how much salt and how much sugar am I working with? There's a lot of junk information here in this problem. I'm only focusing on salt and sugar. The second thing I should look at before I even pay attention to my fraction is my measurement method. Make sure that you're working with the same amounts. These are both TSP. These are both teaspoons, so that's an equal measurement. Now I'm going to take a look at the fraction and pay attention to, what do I have more of? Is 1/4 larger or is 2/5 larger? Just like yesterday, I'm going to be comparing these fractions. Do I have the same denominator? I sure don't. So here's what I can do. I can multiply each other by the opposite denominator. So for the fourths, I multiply by 5. By 5, by 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Multiply my fifths by fourths. Multiply my fifths by 4. So I bring my 4 over here. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. 5 times 4 is 20, and 2 times 4 is 8. I do some comparing here. Which is larger, 5 of the 20 pieces or 8 of the 20 pieces? 8/20ths is larger, which tells me at the end of the day that 2/5 is larger, which tells me that this recipe has more, go back to my original data, more sugar. More sugar, okay? Let's take a look at another recipe. Don't make it. Zach's green soup. For this recipe, if you're gonna make Zach's green soup, which you better not, you'll need 5/8 cups of chicken broth, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 4/9 of a cup of grass clippings, 1/3 of a cup of fish tank water, and 5 cartons of cream cheese. Let's take a look and see what this question's asking me to solve. Are there more cups of grass clippings or fish tank water in this recipe? Pay attention to just what's needed. I'm just paying attention to the grass clippings. I'm just paying attention to the fish tank water. They are both measured in cups, so here's what I'll do. I will compare 4/9 and 1/3. The previous problem, I switched the denominators and multiplied by that. The other way that you guys know how to solve these is by finding the least common multiple. I need to list out all of the multiples or all of the jobs of my denominators. I'll list out a couple for the thirds. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And I'll list out a couple for my ninths. 9, 18, 27, 36, so on and so forth. Here's what I do. Find my first match. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 9, 18, 27, 36. I see 9 here. I see 9 here. I had to multiply 3, or I will have to multiply 3, 1, 2, 3 times to get 9. And I will have to multiply 9 one time to get 9. So here's what I'll do. Multiply 3 times. My thirds gets multiplied by 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 ninths is my new fraction here. 4 ninths. There's two ways I could go about this. I could think, hey, I'm multiplying ninths by 1, so at the end of this, I'm going to get 4 ninths. I can make my comparison early. Or if you're like me and you like going the long way, I know that I'm going to be multiplying both the top and the bottom by 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 9 times 1 is 9. So it's the same fraction again, but sometimes it's nice just to have this look nice and balanced and equal. Well, what's larger? 4 of the 9 pieces or 3 of the 9 pieces? 4 ninths is larger. 4 ninths is larger than 1/3. It means that you are going to have more grass clippings. Yum, 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 yum. More grass clippings in Zach's green soup. Clippings. All right. Boop. On to my final question here. Let's take a look at Luke's old-fashioned gum that sticks to your shoe. This is one of my favorites, and I cannot wait to share this recipe with you. Don't make it. You hear me? Don't make it. In order to make Luke's old-fashioned gum that sticks to your shoe, you will need 1/2 of a cup of spoiled milk. You will need 3/8 of an ounce of gum from under the table. You'll need 7/8 cups of melted candle wax. You'll need 2 whole mints from the bottom of your grandma's purse. And you'll need 1 2/8 cups of peppermint puree. So lots of things that go into this gum that sticks to your shoe, but I know that it's one of Luke's favorites, okay? My question here is asking this. Is there more peppermint puree or melted candle wax in this recipe? I need to pay attention to melted candle wax. I need to pay attention to peppermint puree, okay? Next, take a look and see if my measuring styles are the same. Cups and cups. I'm good. Next, I'll write down my fractions. I'm going to compare 7/8 in comparison to 1 2/8. Now, there's something to think about here, just by looking at this from the get-go. We know that fractions are part of a whole. So I do not have a whole cup of melted candle wax here. I only have 7 of the 8 parts. For the peppermint puree, I have 1 whole and 2/8 of a cup. 1 whole cup and 2/8 of another. So when I get realistically thinking about this problem, I understand a couple of things here. A mixed number is always going to be greater than 1 whole. A proper fraction, where my top is smaller than my bottom, a proper fraction is always going to be less than 1 whole. So without doing any kind of math on this problem, I can understand that 1 whole and 2/8 of another cup is going to be larger than 7/8 of 1 cup. 1 whole is bigger than just the 7/8 of a 1. So without having to do any math here, I can automatically recognize that 1 whole is bigger than this. My mixed number is larger than my proper fraction. So friends, this is the work that you're doing today. You'll be taking a look at some recipes. I don't think that they're as tasty as the ones that we've got here, but pay attention to the information that you need and go about solving the problems in the ways that you know how to solve them. Either find the least common multiple or multiply by the opposite's denominator. Your final assignment for this week is P19. Have an awesome Thursday. Have an awesome weekend. Stay safe. Stay healthy.